All right, good to go.
Thanks. So, wonderful energy in here, and we are so happy to have everybody here. I am Darlene Campbell, and I am a total convert to Ally Shoes. I love anything that makes women look and feel powerful. And around 10 years ago, I left law to start my own shirt company just so that I could make button-down shirts for women to feel strong and powerful. And around the same time, around 20 years ago, I discovered that I could not wear heels because I have Morton's neuroma. After doing a rollerblading tour of Switzerland, which was really, really great, but I couldn't wear heels after that because I had to wear orthotics. So when I met Sam here at Luminary, because we're both members, I just immediately identified with what she was trying to do. So much so that when I recently had a job interview to go back into law, I had a choice of the 1-inch hip kitten heels or, you know, the 3-inch pumps. And I had to wear these. These gave me the look that I wanted. They made me look and feel powerful, and I got the job, yes. So I came from
Nice.
She got the job. So, you need anyone to do tax law or trusted estates? So, I'm super excited. I've given our panelists some questions that I cannot wait to hear the answers for, and I know you're going to be delighted to hear and learn from them as well. I'm going to introduce everyone first. I think you already probably know Sam. You know her amazing bio and that she's super smart, but I don't know you maybe are aware of her quiet determination, that she has a deep understanding of her product and a passion for helping women be able to wear them. She's done so much to help just individuals and bends over backwards. And the goal is to try to get that out to as many people as possible. And so that's where we're hoping for your help. We've got Nalini here. And when I read Nalini's LinkedIn profile, my favorite line is, she's an ambitious revenue generator with a strong consultative sales aptitude and keen insights into client needs and aspirations. That is what I aspire to be. But again, that doesn't tell the whole story. What it doesn't tell you is that she's an incredible connector. There's a lot of you who are already in this room connected to Nalini or who connected to others because of her. And she brings joy to everyone whose lives she touches. So we're really pleased and can't wait to hear what you have to say. Tanya, as you already can tell, has an incredible energy and presence. Her clients love her for her spot-on style advice, but also the way that she will do anything in her power to make them look good. And I'm really looking forward to what you have to say tonight about your experience in the styling world. So, the first question we're going to give you, Tanya, is how has the personal styling landscape changed since you began? How is it better? And how has it become more challenging?
So I'm going to answer that question with a question. How many here tonight are personal stylists? Okay, so you might relate to what I have to say about the changing landscape. You know, personal stylists, really our job is, it's beyond the clothes. It's what the clothes can do for the client. And with technology, with the new face of shopping online, and now with the automation of Style in a Box, a la things like you know, Stitch Fix and Trunk Club, there's the digital experience to styling. So over the years, I've had my personal styling business for 7 years now. I was a fashion designer for 18 years, so the industry changed. And more recently, people, oh, well, but Tanya, what's your app, or what's your technology, or what's your Style in a Box? And there's something to be said about the client, you know, what personal stylists do. We hold space for them. We listen, we care. We ask the questions when they're going through vulnerable times in their life. A change in their body, a change in their age, a change in their career. And that's something Style in a Box can't be there. I actually had a client who did one of those services, and 4 boxes later, She kept one thing. She had turned 40, her body changed, and she was in tears because she was like, what's wrong with me? Those clothes don't look good on me anymore. So the changing landscape is, yes, those apps and the digitals and the style about very convenient and easy, but for people who already have a sense of style or know what to put on their bodies or, you know, what flatters their figure. So just know that these, you know, the apps and the digital, it's not going to replace what we as personal stylists one-on-one offer our clients. We hold space for them, we listen. There's questions like, do you run hot or cold? Do your feet hurt? Have you had foot surgery, right? there's these nuances to being a one-on-one stylist. What technology has done, though, is there are technologies and apps that allow us stylists, after we've worked with a client in their closet or in the stores, to like Hue and Stripe. I don't know if anyone here has heard of Hue and Stripe. Good Picks, Garmentier, they allow us to, after we've met with a client and shopped with them, they allow us to curate some things online and email them, and we get a nice little kickback and commission for doing that. So speaking of digital and technology and other revenue streams, that's where we as stylists, let's embrace technology, let's use it as our friends, and products like Ally Shoes, yes, it's available in stores, but it's also available online. So how much more convenient does that make us being able to service our clients? We can meet and greet them here for a fitting, or if they're long distance or we fit them once, then we have the opportunity to be like, all right, now you need the navy, or now you need the Merlot color. And the ease that gives the client ordering from home and making it convenient. So I would say that's the changing landscape, is the digital and the technology, but not to be afraid that it's going to threaten us personal stylists and what we're doing it, but to embrace it, have it work with us, and you know, use it for our advantage of growing our businesses.
And I also hear what you're saying, something even about accountability. You are the eyes and ears for your client, and you're interpreting the world for them and interpreting their bodies for them.
Absolutely.
That's
really like being their mirror, because some of them don't want to look in the mirror. We get to be their mirror and reflect back to them, showing them the best version of themselves that maybe they can't quite see or feel yet.
Yeah.
That personal touch, yeah.
Thank you. So, yes. So she was talking about how stylists are able then to sort of add to the shopping basket, basically, like, hey, you got the black, now let's get you another color. What other ways, how do you think, Sam, that personal stylists are the future of retail?
Yeah, so if you don't mind me like indulging me on a little bit of, I guess, history or whatnot. So I grew up in a family where a lot of my parents' relatives work in department store retail, and then when I did consulting, we did a lot of omni-channel projects, and now I'm doing this. So even though I didn't come from fashion, I sort of saw the evolution of how retail has been evolving over the years, and retailers and brands have been trying to reach end customers for years. That has never changed. And I think, at the very beginning, location is very important for brick and mortar and prime time on TV ads. That was very important. And then about 10, 15 years ago, you have this little new business model called direct to consumer, where you have people getting used to shopping online, and the social media ads and Google ads started to become really good. And so a lot of those digitally native brands try to get in, cutting out the middleman so we can offer really high quality products at an accessible price point. But it's interesting right now because we're at a point where people are almost a little bit fatigued getting hit with all of those Facebook ads, Google ads all the time, and we're craving these personal touches, as you were saying. And but at the same time, we're spoiled by the convenience of online shopping. So those are some of the things I have seen so far. And so when I met Tanya and a few other lovely stylists at Luminary last year, it started to make a lot of sense to me that this is the future channel or way of shopping that we're starting to seeing as really kind of growing, and it just makes a lot of sense for particularly brands that you have to tell a story, it's a little bit differentiated, and with footwear, you really need that personal touch, either through fitting or really understanding the needs of the customer. And particularly for our target customers, we're targeting women, busy professionals between the age of 35 to 55. They don't have time to shop, or they have funds to spend and they really want high quality products, but they need someone to tell them and suggest to them, what should I wear? And so it just made a lot of sense to me to work with brand ambassadors like Tanya, like Aaliyah, like Elizabeth in the room, and Jessica, where we can offer that type of personal care and expertise in a scalable way, because we're still a startup. We don't have a lot of people, and we know how to make really comfortable heels. I don't know how to style a dress like Tanya, so I think it's just a really good win-win situation for brands and stylists and consumers, because you have that convenience and personal care.
Yeah. So I invited a friend of mine to come try a pair of shoes on Friday, and she never wears high heels. But when she walked in these high heels, she wasn't wobbling. She tried another pair that was half size larger, she was wobbling. So later on, Sam can talk to you about the technique about how she balances the foot in these shoes. But that made the difference for my friend who's about to start a banking job at BOA. Like, she really wants a certain look, and this is making it accessible for her. Back to stylist, it's the stylist who's able then to know about that and to bring it to her attention. So we're going on with the future of retail. Can you talk about, Melanie, on the macro level, what are some sales and marketing trends that personal stylists should be aware of? And how can they capitalize on those trends at their level, at the individual level?
So, Tanya mentioned that she's been a personal stylist for 7 years. I imagine no one's been in this industry for more than 30 years. Is that correct? 30, 40 years? So I'm asking that because something changed in the 1990s. There were two other industries outside of personal styling, which at that time was really something that was a luxury for the rich and fabulous and famous. And those two changes were, one, the advent of digital cameras and digital sharing of photographs. The other industry that experienced rapid change was fast fashion that started in the 1990s. You can trace it back to then. And more recently, it's been the accessibility, we talked about access here, the accessibility of what used to be limited to aspirational fashion and has now become more tangible. So that has been in the form of rentals, in the form of sharings and swaps and all other types of creative ways that we make our outfits today. So those two industries and the changes that they experienced in the 1990s have actually laid the foundation for what we know today as this ubiquitous interest that we all have, and let me have the convenience, let me have some ease, let me have a woman who looks fabulous all the time like Tanya help me get fitted and help me feel great when I'm presenting. So that's the foundation and the background. And when it comes to what new opportunities arise, since we're speaking to a number of stylists in the room and people who are fashion forward and interested in the field, I don't want to share with you something that you already know. So I would like to highlight a new opportunity or a growing opportunity that I think really is accessible to stylists. So 80,000 women ages 30 to 51 or 52 were interviewed, and they were asked, well, what do you value most when it comes to your fashion purchases? Or your fashion spending, I should say, because rentals are included. So number one was quality, two is affordability. And what's trailing those but is rapidly growing is personalization and sustainability. So what we're seeing more, and what we anticipate, what we're forecasting to see more, is personalization and sustainability kind of conflating. And what I mean by that is that when we're thinking of our own identity becoming self-expressed, there's a greater interest in that being values-based. And values-based could have to do with textile sustainability and what is the impact of this garment and what impact did it have in terms of were the dyes that were used contaminating local water for the people who live in the area of the factory, were the workers treated fairly, what were the natural gas emissions that are related to this product, and were the people that were they working in clean, healthy conditions, and were they treated fairly? Was it somebody of a potentially a minority group that I really want to support who's behind this particular garment, this particular pair of shoes? So those kinds of factors that go into values-based desires for purchase, that's not quite driving demand yet. And the reason it's not quite, the interest is not really converting into demand is that we are so busy, as Sam said, but we don't have time. Like, I may want a polka dotted shirt, but I may not have time to go figure out, okay, who made a shirt that really aligns with all of my values? And that's an interesting opportunity where personal stylists come in. Because stylists are so often so close to so many brands. They know original brand manufacturers intimately. They can tell you, like, I know this amazing woman who designs shoes. I know this amazing designer who makes scarves or who makes dresses. And they have an intimate relationship, not only with the client, but also with designers, or having a treasure trove of research into different labels, even if it's not a bespoke designer. So that's an interesting opportunity that I just wanted to highlight, because I think that creates a nice opportunity. Whether you want to support a woman-owned business, a woman designer, or you want to support anything else, the values-based leadership is what I think is a really interesting opportunity.
That's fascinating, because I was talking to Jessica from the Chic Professor earlier. And I have a stylist friend who's told me I need a certain kind of top now that I'm at this law firm. I need something that's a little bit elevated. And of course, I love what Jessica's wearing over there. And Jessica then told me everything about this special recycled fabric closed loop top that she's wearing. And of course, I never would have heard about it if it hadn't been for this stylist. So you've got to find out more as well. Tanya, back to you, because we're hearing about the trends and how things have changed. This is one I'm dying to hear, because you've had time to think about this, I think, in like your day-to-day work with women. So in a dream world, what would the personal styling landscape look like, and how can brands and stores help make that happen?
So being on the fashion design side for 18 years and studying, the brick and mortar and the retail, I'm very much about recognizing like what's wrong with the system. And I shop everywhere, department stores, boutiques. I found, specialty brands like Sam and Ally Shoes. But it's also about the experience. And you go into these department stores, and for me as a stylist, it's great because I have multiple brands and collections I can choose from to pull it together to have ready. But who's paying the average woman her hourly rate to go through a store, to dig through racks, to almost barely find her size? So it's not so much about like the future of personal styling, it's about like the future of retail and how it should be dictated more about personalization, that caring touch, and the experience. So for me, it's about blending the two. I would love to see, we've seen versions of it popping up, like Nordstrom's has a trunk club where you are matched up with a personal stylist who's taking the time to go, where do you work? What's your role? What's your goal? What's your lifestyle like? What's your age? Like, right, that personalized touch. But that, every salesperson in a retail setting should be trained as if they are a personal stylist, because it turns more into selling the clothes and making the commission than it does, am I listening to the client and really catering to and listening to what she's saying, instead of just, I had one client who was sold a genuine fur coat after telling them she does not wear real fur. And like $10,000 later, why is she? So there's this disconnect with that. And not all retail settings. Some stores do it right, and some smaller boutiques do it right. But in general, it's time for the personal stylist and time for the retail to speak to personal stylists more often. You want to know what a woman needs in her closet? Talk to a personal stylist. We're up close and personal with fit, with fabric. I never realized how much I would have to learn about feet. Most of my clients are over 40, 40s, 50s, and 60s. I've had to hear about foot surgery, bunions, right? That knowledge you need, right? So I think it's time for retailers and personal stylists to have more of a conversation, hiring personal stylists on a consultation basis, designers having consultations from personal stylists, because we're really hearing what the client really needs. These collections come out and half of it's unwearable because, oh, now the trend is boxy and oversized. Well, a woman with curves, she wants a little shape and figure flattering, but that's what we as personal stylists recognize. So for me, the retail setting, more personalization, the experience, even what the salespeople say when a person comes into a store. How easy would it be to say to a client, how can I make your shopping experience more pleasurable today?
That's a great way of putting it.
Instead of, can I help you with something you're looking for? Or, if you need me, I'll be over here. You know? So even like the language, the dialogue, and that's where I feel like personal stylists, we listen and we understand how to ask those questions and those vulnerable questions. So the future of retail, in terms of brick and mortar, more luxury experience for the clients. I want people, the minute the woman walks in, can I take your coat and bag? Women with a coat and a bag schlepping and trying to dig through racks. You can kind of set it up in a room, so, sorry, I'll keep it more concise tonight, but I just see all the improvements that can happen at that retail brick and mortar, but it needs to be about the client and that client experience. So more personalization, salespeople being trained, and talking to personal stylists about the selection of what they need in stores. That if I had found your shoe 7 years ago, I probably could have sold 1,000 pair by now. Because I would go to Saks, to Bloomies, to Bergdorf, to Stuart Weitzman. It's a 4-inch heel, or it's a flat, or it's the platform, the flat. I'm like, where's the 3-inch pump with a little comfort? Where is it? It's here! It's finally here, but it took a woman. It took a woman to experience something herself to go, I need a comfortable pump. So for retail, I want to see more of a communication between the retailers and the personal stylists and the innovative designers like Sam, who are listening to the need and filling the niche in the market.
That sounds
Simple, but the way we created our product, we hosted events like this. Even when we had like 10 of our different prototypes at the time, we had real women try them on and tell us, like, this doesn't work because so-and-so, why don't you do this? Why don't you do a wide width? We wouldn't have thought about it, even as myself, if I just thought about it just within myself, I might create something that fits me. But if we didn't listen to all those women, we wouldn't have created something like this. And now that we have those amazing ambassadors, and hopefully you will join as well all of you tonight, as we have new designs, ideas, we will bring them to you as well, because like you said, you know what they want. And that's just so crucial for us to create something new and useful. Because otherwise, the world doesn't need another sexy shoe that you can't walk in. Why don't I make something you actually need? Yeah.
So Nalini, so you get the impression that stylists are people. And in your consulting work with other relationship-centric service providers, how have you helped clients use this strength to their advantage?
Great question, because it's so pertinent to personal stylists. So I want to pick up, to answer that question, I want to pick up on something that Tanya shared about Style in the Box. I don't know how many I've tried at this point, not recently, but you know that you open the box and you have these contents and you're like, what? Did they ship this to the wrong person? Like, what were they thinking? And this is, after like painstaking efforts to fill out their surveys
Gazillion
with their
questions.
real face of a person that is really a bot in most cases, or minimal human touch. And that's not just my experience, that is the experience of many. I won't say all, of course, but that is the experience of many. And so, so just to come back to your question, it takes a lot of emotional intimacy, as you all know, being in this space, either as stylists or having sought out the advice of a stylist. Even when you're in a changing room at a department store, to say to a stranger, hey, what do you think of this? It takes a bit of courage. It takes a leap of emotional intimacy. And in the position that personal stylists are in, there's this tremendous advantage that what you have over fashion tech all by itself, fashion tech alone, is that you can gather data in real time, and you can make small incremental adjustments on how you are approaching your client in real time. And then further, while you're doing that, and while you're taking feedback, and while you're readjusting and being agile and being adaptable in how you're responding, at the same time, you're able to figure out, okay, how am I going to present myself as an expert? This is the challenge part. How do I present myself as an expert with opinions, but still be agile and adaptable and responsive to an array of different customers? So you have the advantage, being able to be on the ground and being hypersensitive in a good way to really, really gather data and make adjustments as you need to. But then the challenge of how do you do that while maintaining your brand, your image, because it's not just the brands that you sell, it is, and the brands that you adorn people in, but it's the brand that you are, right? So that's an interesting component of the people-centric, relationship-centric nature of the industry. And so I always encourage people to really think, how am I showing up for people? And to get some really great eyes on that, get someone, not just your friends, but get someone with some expertise to give you really honest feedback on that. How am I showing up for people? What vibes do you think I'm giving off? How do you think that I'm presenting myself? Because until we have a really great alignment between that and the actual experience that we're helping inform in any relationship type of business, there's some opportunity for a little bit of crustiness. And we don't want that. We want to be able to create a clean path. Being relationship minded means taking mental notes, taking physical notes, using technology. We have such great tools today to use technology, but really making sure that you create a memorable experience for each of your customers. And if they're not your customer today, they might be your customer in 6 months or in 2 years. So making sure that you retain information and you retain sensitive little details is also a really important component of the job and in any job. So what do you think?
That reminds me of talking to Aaliyah recently. She needed to do exactly what you're describing. You went back to pretty much the last year's worth of clients, and what did you ask them?
I had a set of questions and asked for maybe 20 minutes of their time, and what was their biggest challenge, what was their experience in working with me, and mostly what they felt they gained from the experience, because I really wanted to know in their words, because as a stylist, you might think you know, but until you talk to every single person. So I learned the terminology of what my clients were saying, and it was a little different than what I thought. It was on the same lines, but it was nice to hear their feedback.
And you changed your website as a result.
Right, I'm working on it.
Yeah, you're changing your website as a result. Yeah.
Rebrand.
It's all a process.
So Sam, I've got another question for you that is an opportunity to say all the great things about Ally. Because, yeah, well, it goes along with, we've got the brands, we've got the stylists, and how is a partnership with you, being an ambassador for Ally, how is that a win-win for you, the company, for the stylist, and for the stylist client?
Yeah, so win-win situation. So from the brand side for us, we're still a very young brand, and we have a very high-touch product.
Yes.
We have a lot more sizes than a traditional shoe brand. We have 3 different widths. I run half sizes and sometimes quarter sizes, all the way from size 4 to 12. And the internal structure it's very different and in some way a little bit weird because it has never been done before. It works, but I need someone to kind of tell that story to the end client even when I'm not there. So I cannot just sell to Nordstrom and be like, hey, those are our inventory, because 1, they will never take that much inventory, and 2 is they, as a small brand, they wouldn't give us as much attention, and I don't know what kind of story they're telling. So for me, from the brand side, we really wanted someone who we can trust, who likes the brand. If someone tries on our shoes and like, those suck, I don't believe in them, then you shouldn't be our brand ambassador, because we want to build this authentic relationship from people who actually love the product. Then it's almost like you're recommending it to your friend, and in a lot of sense, your clients become your friends. Even though it is a business relationship, you get to know them and you know what's best for them, and we want you to recommend what's best for them. So that's a really good way for us. I think for stylists and ambassadors we work with, it's often really difficult to find interesting, innovative, and up-and-coming brands because we don't have all those marketing budget to do subway ads or the alike. And so, similarly to the end customer, there are so many new brands coming out every day. So we want this relationship to be an opportunity for you to vet us and introduce new and interesting brands to the end customer that actually fits them. And you have screened them, you have tried them yourself. So I think that's also just a very good way for brand exploration and brand discovery from the customer. And it gives the stylist or our ambassador some unique insights and value you can offer to your followers, your clients, because you get something that's new and interesting and different that you can't just find browsing your website. So it's been a really great way for us to get our name out there and really find the right customers to introduce our brands to.
Well, right, because the stylist knows who the right customer is.
Yeah, and if I may add to that, because I have been, I wear them myself, my clients love them, like I said, hallelujah, finally, a comfortable 3-inch pump for women over 40, but women of all ages. And for us stylists, it becomes another revenue stream. So we as stylists, we have our stylist fee, but then we're taken to Saks or Bloomingdale's, that salesperson gets the commission, so it becomes another revenue stream for us stylists as well. And it is a product that we can stand behind. Like Sam said, I've worn it. I wore them all the way home from a networking event once, and I'm going up the subway stairs, and I look down, I'm like, I never took the shoes off. How is that possible? Because they're comfortable. So as a personal stylist, it's how do we keep our clients interested? Hey, I found the next best new thing. I finally found that most most comfortable 3-inch pump. And it becomes a revenue stream for us as well, so that we, can elevate our businesses and brands. And to Nalini's point, we have a choice of where to shop and bring our clients. And to bring more conscientiousness to that with a female-founded brand, sustainability, it's a win-win all around.
Yeah, and I will say, I think I'm so bullish on this as the new channel of retail. I think for brands like us that, we want to have very high quality shoes at an accessible price point, and we're in an era where with D2C brands, Facebook ads, which worked for a few years, is not working anymore. It's becoming very price prohibitive, and so a lot of brands are not going back to the wholesale model. But if I sell this to a department store, this is going to be a $700 shoe, and I don't want to do that. So for me to keep the integrity of why I started this, just to bring very great shoes at high quality, accessible price to all women, this is I'm so glad I found you guys, and we can make this work, because I think this truly is the future of retail, and it's a better way to, for people to shop. Works for brands and work for customers.
I just want to add something. I love what Sam just said. What Sam just said is values-based leadership from a designer. And that's exactly what I was talking about before. Like, she's living her values through her work, through her designs, through her product. And I love that. And just one more thing to add, it's not just a matter I'm speaking personal styling, it's not just a matter of your clients or your prospects and all the advertising you might do on social. I would like to think that there's some value in advocacy as well. So if I can offer a little share, Sam's Ally shoes were represented at a pop-up shop, a day-long pop-up shop, that a client of mine who happens to be a leather handbag designer was co-hosting. And I remember standing there thinking, I need to get people to try these things. And I told Sam afterwards, I said, I think I had my part-time job that day. Asking people to try these on, because if you try them on, you're probably going to buy them. So there's a value there in advocacy, and I just want to offer that because I think so often when we're in this kind of a business that so many of you are in, you're thinking, okay, what's my next social ad? Who's my next client who's going to write me a testimonial? There are other people in your orbit that can help you get the word out in terms of what it is that you do, who you are, what you stand for, and what brands you're allied with, and how you deliver happiness, if I can use the Zappos line, how you deliver happiness.
This is the other question I'm dying to ask you, because as stylist, you've seen this quote or told people this quote, you only wear about 20% of what's in your closet. And the same is true, hopefully, that you could tell us in our own businesses. How can we, I wrote it down. How can we apply, the same principle to our work, where we've got so much to do, and I just heard you say, there's all these other people out there who can help you get the word out. How can a stylist sort of leverage what she has to make more of an impact?
I'm not going to say that there's an easy 80-20 rule to
Okay.
this. I work with a team of strategists, advisors, and we really get into the weeds of trying to figure out who are you as a client, who are you as an individual, what is your DNA, what makes you tick, what gives you a voice, and then we help articulate that brand identity to get it out there. And then as we continue to do that, we help figure out, okay, what is working for you? Like how do you show up, who gravitates towards you, and how does who gravitates towards you, how does that reconcile or not reconcile with whom you want to do business for, right? There's not always a perfect alignment there. And so we want to pick up on those cues, pick up on market cues, study who your target demographic is. I'm getting a sense, Tony, that you work with women over 40. So who is your target demographic? And then within that demographic, it's not just age. What are all the other levers within your customer avatar group that we really need to look at? So it's really examining the design of a business, and then what holds it up, which is your financial strategy. So looking at your financials. We don't believe in looking at just, what is my video marketing presence all by itself, and how am I hiring a bookkeeper to do my finances all by itself. Instead, we see a business as a living, breathing organism. Just like you're working in a relationship business. Your relationships are your capital. That is what really keeps you going. That is what you can build long-term relationships, long-term engagements, and that's what your entire income is forecast based on, right? So what we like to do is we look at the business design, we look at the financial strategy, and we look at your talent and try to figure out how do you optimize yourself in order to bring these three together and then help you flourish. So I'm not going to say
very
there's
individual.
well, what I'll say is that there are certain
Personalized.
industry
Uh-huh.
specifics,
Okay.
the ones that we've talked about.
Uh-huh.
But there's not like a simple you should spend 80% of your time doing this. I won't give a blanket rule to that because it really depends where are you in your curve
Yeah.
and what responses are you getting, what feedback are you getting from the marketplace.
Mhm, mhm. And speaking of feedback, the final question for Sam is one that I think will easily segue into our Q&A because we're going to be engaging with you. What questions, Sam, do you have for the audience about how brands can be more responsive to personal stylists?
Yeah.
So
I think that's my question. Which is, how can we be more? I think it's just how do we make it easier for you? Not just as a stylist, maybe as a fashion blogger. If you were to work with a brand like Ally, what are things you care about? What's most important to you? Because I'm treating this as, I came from background of design thinking. That's how we did our product, which is we seek feedback all the time. So as we launch our ambassador program, that's how we want to approach it as well. So what matters most to you, and how can we be helpful? Yes. Ellie.
My name's Leah. And I love the shoes, as you know, Sam. One of the things, and as Tanya mentioned, when working with clients, giving them that personalization is super important in making them feel special. But also, New York City, busy, ambitious women want simplicity. So I can talk all day about the brand, and I could let them try my shoe if I have it there, if I'm wearing it during our sessions. But having an opportunity, I don't know if a lot of my clients may not want to set up an appointment to try on the shoes before they buy, so I don't know if there could be a couple of times a month where they can go somewhere, or if we make the process easier for them to be able to go somewhere and try them on.
Yeah.
Or I don't know if it's ideal to ship it to someone that's like too much, but I'm just throwing out the idea of how can you make it more simple for people to try on before they buy.
Yeah.
Because as you know, the ship is going to our online shopping, we'll go with our recommendations.
Yeah.
But it is nice to add that extra value to them and personalization, like, oh, I know the designer, and they'll be happy to, you can try them on before you buy, they're made to order, so it's a special thing that your shoes offer.
Yeah.
Like, how can you just get it to them?
Yeah, so right now with New York, we have this space actually where you can book an appointment for your client online, and our team will take care of in-person fitting. So if this is a convenient location for them,
Here at
Luminary, we also are expanding our store and boutique partners. So Nora Gardner on 58th and Madison, and we actually, we have found that to also be a good destination because she sells really great professional women's apparel. So you can, sell more things at her store and but they also carry our shoes, so people can go there. And the good thing with that is it's a retail location, so people can come in anytime. They don't have to make an appointment. And I'm hoping to have more partnerships like that in New York and across the country, so it could be easy, like you said, for people to try on at their convenience. We are happy to, so one of the things is we're being very flexible with all of our ambassadors. So I talk to everyone before you sign up to make sure you have the right setup based on your needs. We have worked with stylists in DC where they're like, just give me a set of sample sizes and I'll just take whichever to my appointment. So we have done that, and you don't need to purchase that, it's on us, we'll send you samples. And so that's just making it easy for you. But, if you prefer to just for us to send it directly to your customer, we can do that as well. I think it's just kind of case by case. So, and if there are other ideas you have, happy to talk about that as well.
And the online ordering option, don't you offer the 2 sizes? Do you offer, or do you just ship them the one
We
size?
ship them
Remind
one
me.
size, but we do have an online fit finder. So we would look at, so it's 10 questions asking them about their feet. And if we look at it and we're like, I think you should try this size as well, we would sometimes add a free backup size. And so if you want that, you can just let us know, and we can do that as well. Yeah, yes, Mark.
So, 2 thoughts. One is, I know what resonates a lot with my client base is tie-ins with philanthropy. So I look at this space and I think, wow, what a fabulous place to have a monthly shoe mixer with a charity of the month. I know I have a friend who's, I mentioned to you, who imports shoes from Brazil, and she's doing a one-to-one basically it's a theme for International Women's Day, International Women's Month. So basically, so when the client purchases a pair, she's donating a pair to women in need. I think, and I don't know whether you're in an inventory situation yet, but that's certainly an opportunity to partner with a Dress for Success or a 501c3 that could, benefit from having the shoes. I just think that a lot. I think that initiate you from a lot of people in the business shoe space.
Yeah, I'd love to chat more
Yeah.
offline on this because every year we do a few donations to Bottomless Closet in New York. When we did something similar with, I forgot what it's called. It's like the Bottomless Closet of DC. And we recently donated to Project Prom in New York, where they give low-income high school girls shoes and clothes for prom. So we already do that, but I think I agree if we can make that into like a program or something like that.
Like I said, I think those
That would be great.
strategic, like now I sit on 2 boards on the Burbs, but those strategic partnerships where you're co-branding with, with a nonprofit that your client base has an affinity for. I think that really differentiates you from a lot of brick and mortars that do those as one-offs, but whatever. But if you, pick 1 or 2 and run with them for a year and say, these are our charitable partners.
Yeah.
And the other question, and I know someone else in the room is probably going to ask it, so I'll leave it to it. When do you foresee, so you have a marquee product, when do you foresee line extensions?
Yeah, so this year we have done this one single silhouette for the past 2 years, if you can believe it. And when we thought about expanding, we expanded on color and sizes. And so we wanted to really focus on getting this classic silhouette right. That being said, we have gotten a lot of requests from customers, from ambassadors to do new styles. So this year, a few things in the works. We have the samples for our new straps. So we have a Mary Jane and an ankle strap that we're launching next month, like pretty much now-ish. Oh yeah, here. And that's for, it's actually a request from a few of our customers who said, I have a very thin heel, so I want that security, can you do that? So we're doing that. We're working on a lower kitten heel for people who want to wear heels. They tried our shoes, they think it's great, but they're still like, can I ease into it? We're also
It's a
working.
starter shoe.
I know. Although people did say our heels feel like flats, so we're also working on a block heel. Again, people are telling us walking on like Brindlocks in New York is a pain, so we're working on that. And then next year, hopefully we can have a little bit more ventures into like boots or loafers or things like that. But that's.
Have you thought about a platform?
I've been Yeah, I mean, within our chief science officer, Dr. Clark, very against platforms.
Dr. Clark says no.
She says no. Designer Sarah says no. And I think we really wanted to make it work without a platform. And another thing is we haven't heard from people enough that they wanted the platform. So, never say never. I think if at some point we have enough customers who are like, hey, you have to do this, then, we'll listen. Yeah, but we've been very intentional in making fewer things that are classic. We're very much anti-fast fashion. The same silhouette for 2 years. But I do think there's a trend for classic, fewer, better things. And it's always come back, and fast fashion has been around for 20 years, and now we're being more sustainable, and people have this overload of information. We're going back to basics. I think it's a great thing. And we're also doing a semi-made-to-order process, which allows me to offer so many sizes without overloading on inventory. So really kind of using flexible supply chain to make it work. And I think that's what we stand for. So of course I want to do so many things in styles, but we've been pretty self-controlled and intentional in that.
I just want to connect the dots on something in case it's not obvious. So having a classic shoe is a sustainable choice for your wardrobe because you're going to have something that's built really well, that feels really comfortable. You can run up the subway grades, so subway stairs with it, and you can walk on subway grades with it too. But rather than buying 100 different pairs that are going to last you a few wears and that are going to feel uncomfortable, you get a handful of really classic, beautifully well-crafted shoes that support your values, and that's a great opportunity Alec presents.
So hopefully, you can't wait to try them if you haven't already. Sam and I will be happy to answer your questions about how the ambassadorship program works. And did you want to talk about the...
Oh yeah, so I forgot to mention, if you sign up today as an ambassador, it's just, to have a follow-up conversation with us, you do get a free pair of heels. Because again, I want you to like them before you decide if you want to become an ally ambassador. So make sure you try them on so you at least know your size. And come talk to me or Darlene. Happy to talk more about how the setup of the ambassador program is, and look forward for you to join the family.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming. So we can mingle a little bit or so, spend an hour putting those cheese plates together. Make sure you eat some.
Are you already an ambassador?
I'm not an ambassador,
Because
but
I'm looking at your shoes that you're wearing. Are you wearing our shoes?
no, I'm not. This is the first time that I've read a book, but I've never tried it. I did last fall.
So I've actually